Welcome to FoodByte. In this installation guide, we will host our Node.js API on DigitalOcean with a self-hosted MongoDB. Please follow our official documentation steps carefully. From the DigitalOcean dashboard, click on Create, then select Droplet. Select your preferred or nearest region. Then choose the OS image. We will use Ubuntu 24. Next, select your droplet plan. Here we will use a basic droplet for testing. For authentication, choose either SSH or password. SSH is recommended, so we will use SSH. Follow the guide to generate and add SSH keys from your local machine. Copy this command and paste it into your terminal or command prompt. Press Enter to continue. Enter your SSH password, then re-enter the password for confirmation. Copy this command and paste it into your terminal or command prompt. Use your SSH password. This command will copy your newly created SSH key to your clipboard. Paste your SSH key and click Add SSH key. All done. Now click the Create Droplet button. Your droplet will be created shortly. Your droplet has been created, but it will take some time to set up. Please wait. Now, follow the documentation steps. First, we need to update our droplet. Access your Ubuntu droplet using the SSH terminal with this command, replacing the IP with your droplet's IPv for address, then press Enter. If the droplet is ready, you can connect from your terminal or command prompt. Otherwise, use the SSH terminal interface from DigitalOcean for your newly created droplet. Right now, our droplet is not ready. Let's wait until it completes the setup. The droplet setup is complete. Now, let's update the droplet to the latest version using this command. This command will update the droplet to the latest version. Please wait while it completes. Click the OK button if you see this dialog on your screen. Now that our droplet is ready, we can connect to it using our local terminal or command prompt. The update is complete. Now, let's install Node.js on our droplet using these commands. Follow the documentation carefully and do not skip any steps. After installing Node.js, check the Node.js version and npm version using these commands. You can also install the Yarn package manager. Use these commands to enable Yarn on the droplet. In this step, we will install MongoDB on the droplet as a self-hosted database. You can skip this if you are using MongoDB Compass. Follow the documentation guide for MongoDB Compass. Otherwise, let's proceed to install MongoDB on the droplet. Copy this list of commands to install MongoDB on your droplet, and make sure not to skip any commands. Please wait while MongoDB is being installed on your droplet. After installation is complete, start and enable the MongoDB service on your droplet using these two commands. Check your MongoDB installation using this command. In this step, we will secure MongoDB. If you are using a self-hosted database, do not skip this step, it's important. First, allow connections only from your droplet by adding your home IP address if it's not already listed. Then, restart MongoDB using this command. You can save the changes in the Nano editor by pressing Ctrl+O, then enter, and exit with Ctrl+X. Now, let's add an admin user to our MongoDB database. This user will be used to connect to the database. Follow the steps on the screen carefully, and avoid using special characters in the password. Once the admin user is added, let's enable security on MongoDB. Follow these steps carefully and save changes in Nano using Ctrl+O, Enter, and Ctrl+X. Now, let's verify the changes. Restart the MongoDB service. First, we will install Git on our droplet using these commands. Now, to upload our API code to the DigitalOcean droplet, the safest way is via a GitHub private repository. This guide will help you upload your API code to a private repo. Make sure it is private for confidentiality. On the GitHub dashboard, click Create New Repository, enter a repository name, select Private Visibility, leave the other settings as default, and click Create Repository. Make sure you have generated a GitHub Personal Access Token. If not, create one via GitHub Profile. Settings. Developer Settings. Personal Access Tokens. Create Classic Token. With repo access and 60 to 90 days duration. Copy it and keep it for future use. Now, let's upload the API code to GitHub. Follow these steps carefully to push your API code to a GitHub repository, and make sure it is a private repository only. While pushing the code to GitHub, if prompted for authentication, use your GitHub username and personal access token. Once the code is successfully uploaded, verify it on GitHub. Make sure there is no .env file in the repository. We will create our own. Again, ensure the repository is private. Now, let's create the default www directory on the droplet. Use these commands to create the directory. Now, let's clone our API GitHub repository into the server's www directory. Follow the instructions and clone the code. If an authentication prompt appears, use your GitHub username and personal access token. Verify that the code has been cloned correctly into the droplet. Now, navigate to the cloned repository and install the API dependencies using npm install or yarn install. Please wait while the API dependencies are being installed. This may take some time to download all required packages. The next step is to create the .env file using these commands. This file is confidential, so do not upload it to GitHub. Always use a private repository. Once the .env file is created, open it with Nano Editor and make the necessary changes, such as the port number and MongoDB URL, self-hosted or MongoDB Compass. For this demo, we will use the self-hosted MongoDB URL. After editing, save the file with Ctrl+O, press Enter, and exit with Ctrl+X. Verify the changes to ensure all environment variables are correctly configured before proceeding. Next, add the Firebase service account to your API code. Navigate to the src-thefcm_keys directory and open the service account key.json file. Make sure you already have a Firebase service account key. If not, generate one from the Firebase console or follow our official documentation. If you do not need Firebase features for testing purposes, you can disable Firebase from the src directory and inside the app.js file. However, we strongly recommend using Firebase service accounts for full functionality. Copy your Firebase service account credentials and paste them into the service account key.json file, then save the changes. Verify that the Firebase service account is added correctly. Navigate to the root directory of the project where the package.json file is located. Now install PM2 on your droplet using the following command. PM2 is a production process manager for Node.js that keeps your API running continuously, restarts it automatically on crashes, and manages logs efficiently. All done. Now run your API on the DigitalOcean droplet using npm start or yarn start. After executing the command, your API will start running on the droplet. If you encounter any errors in the logs, carefully review all configurations and update them accordingly. You can use PM2 save to save the current running process list, and PM2 startup to automatically restart your API when the server reboots. The very next and most important step is to set up an Nginx reverse proxy on our droplet. We will install Nginx and configure it to route incoming requests to our Node.js API. Please follow this guide carefully and do not skip any steps, as Nginx is required for production-ready API deployment. Please follow the instructions carefully. Skipping or misconfiguring any step may cause the API or Nginx setup to fail. Please follow the instructions carefully. Skipping or misconfiguring any step may cause the API or Nginx setup to fail. Please follow the instructions carefully. Skipping or misconfiguring any step may cause the API or Nginx setup to fail. Create and add your Nginx configuration file to the site's available directory as per the documentation. After adding the file, check the Nginx configuration syntax to ensure there are no errors. If the syntax check passes, restart Nginx to apply the changes. Finally, allow HTTP traffic through the firewall so your API can be accessed publicly. Now open your droplet's IPv4 address in a browser and your API should start running. If it doesn't load immediately, wait a moment or check that your PM2 process is still running. Make sure you are using HTTP, not HTTPS, since SSL is not configured yet. Open the IPv4 address in a private browser window using HTTP only. If you see the API success message, everything is set up correctly. If not, wait briefly or review the configuration steps to ensure nothing was missed. Now our API is running on the droplet, but it's currently accessible via an IP address, which is not recommended for production. It's better to use a domain or subdomain. To do this, add your droplet's IP address to your domain provider, such as Namecheap. You can use any provider. Add two DNS records, A and www, pointing to your droplet's IPv4 address. After adding the records, verify them using the ping command. Please wait a few minutes, as DNS propagation may take some time. Now follow the instructions carefully to connect your domain or subdomain to the droplet using Nginx. Make sure all configurations are done correctly, as this step is required to access your API via the domain instead of the IP address. Once the Nginx setup is complete, you can access your API using your domain. Open the domain in your browser and check the response. If it doesn't load immediately, wait a few minutes. DNS propagation can take some time. Make sure you open the URL using HTTP only, not HTTPS, since SSL is not configured yet. Try opening it in a private browser window after some time. If you still don't see the expected result, recheck your Nginx configuration and ensure no steps were missed. The final step is to set up SSL using the free Let's Encrypt certificate. Follow these steps carefully to install and configure SSL for your domain and secure your API. Add this command to enable automatic renewal for your SSL certificate. This ensures your Let's Encrypt SSL certificate renews automatically before it expires. This will automatically configure SSL in your Nginx file. After the setup, your Nginx configuration will look like this. Please verify the changes to ensure SSL is applied correctly. After reloading Nginx, enable the firewall for port 43 and apply the rules. This ensures HTTPS traffic is allowed and your SSL secured API is accessible. And open your domain to verify the SSL certificate. You should see the Let's Encrypt certificate applied. If it doesn't appear, recheck the setup carefully and update the configuration. Once it's working correctly, you can use this API URL in your projects, such as the admin panel, customer app, restaurant app, etc.